Hey guys! Today I'm going to be talking to you about all of my bookish pet peeves. Okay, well, probably not all of them. I'm sure that there are a lot more I am not thinking of at the moment, but these are definitely the things that irritate me most about books. These are not going to be in any particular order. I just wrote them down as I was thinking of them. Okay, my first bookish pet peeve is repetition. It absolutely annoys me when an author feels like they need to repeat themselves several times in the same book. It's bad enough if it's a series of books and each book recaps what happened in the previous books, but then when you have a series of books that are constantly repeating the exact same thing throughout the entirety of the book, it drives me crazy. A good example of this is the Vampire Academy series. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved that series, it and the Bloodline series, but both of those series, there was so much repetition. It's like I only needed this information once. It stands out more if you binge read them like I did. I say if you read them when they were coming out, it wasn't as annoying, but it was just one of those things that I didn't like about the series at all, and it really frustrated me. Then you have some books that instead of repeating themselves multiple times, they end up giving you like these gigantic info dumps. And a good example of this is Allegiant, where I felt like the information that we were given throughout that entire book could have been spaced throughout all three books, and it would have made a lot more sense and we wouldn't have been overwhelmed, which is one of the things that I didn't like about the book. I felt really overwhelmed when we got all of that information at once. There were several other reasons why I didn't enjoy that book, but that was one of the main reasons. And I feel like that if they were standalone books, it would be necessary for info dumps, but since it's spread out to 2 or more books, it's unnecessary because they could have given us gradual information throughout all 3 books. Then we have the books that completely overdo it with descriptions. By that I mean, instead of just quickly telling us what the character looks like or whatever the scenery looks like in 2 or 3 sentences, they overdo it and end up describing everything in 2 to 3 paragraphs, which is not okay because it makes the book very frustrating to read, and that much description about anything is really unnecessary. Then we have relationship problems in books. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I haven't read that many bad love triangles, so I really don't have a problem with love triangles. The only real romantic problem I have in books is if it's insta-love. I completely and utterly despise insta-love. I've actually only read, I think, 2 books where it was insta-love, and I hated both of them. One of them was by an author I really liked her previous books, which is why I picked up that book, and I completely ended up hating it. I mean, I'm going to continue reading her books. I'm just going to steer clear from the ones that are insta-love. But it's just so annoying because people in real life do not fall in love like that. It would be so much easier if they did, but no. I mean, no one like goes up to somebody and talks to them for like all of 2 seconds and then suddenly they're in love. And then we have this one special line that never fails to piss me off. And that is the line, "I let go of a breath that I didn't know I was holding." Who does that? Who seriously goes around in real life and doesn't know that they're holding their breath? I mean, I'm human. I would never not know that I was holding my breath. I mean, for one thing, your lungs would start to burn. Okay, those are pretty much all the problems I have with books themselves. So let's move on to stuff like what the publishers do and what other people do that kind of piss me off. And then there's one of the random things that pisses me off about books where, you know, you can see how I have the majority of my books right here. It's like passenger is facing outward, and I have some random books on my shelf that just tip forward and like completely fall off the shelf for like no reason at all. And that's just one of the things that just pisses me off, especially when it happens 2 or 3 times in a day. I'm not sure why it's happening either. It hasn't happened in the last week, thank goodness, but it's just one of those random things that just pisses me off. I don't know if it can be considered a pet peeve, but it peeves me off, so I'm counting it. Which, speaking of passenger, it brings me to my next pet peeve, which is these ugly stickers they like to stick on the books. And not only do they stick them here, but they stick them sometimes over the description of the book in the back, and that's a big no-no for me. I've gotten good at taking these price stickers off that they put on the books that I hate, but when it comes to these stickers and stickers that actually are a part of the cover, that is not okay. I mean, why would they even print a sticker on the cover? You know, like it's physically part of the cover. You can never take that thing off. I actually have 1 or 2 books like that, but I have no clue where they are at this point, or I would show you. But they're part of the cover. They will never come off, and they look ugly as crap. Where this one, I will eventually get this one off. Although, if I take it off, it'll probably leave the sticky residue behind, and I don't want to deal with that right now. Then we have the book covers that start in one art design and end in another. As far as I know, I don't own any books that the series started in one cover art and ended in another, but I know several have, like the Shatter Me series and the Across the Universe series, but I bought both of those book series in paperback so all the covers match. But it's just one of the things that really, really irritates me, especially when the first cover art for the books was so incredibly beautiful, like the Across the Universe series. Shatter Me needed a cover art redesign, but they could have at least printed the first book in that new cover, because as far as I know they haven't, and if they ever did, I would so snatch up that book, because the first book of that series, it has the ugliest hardcover design I have seen on a book. But it's just really, really frustrating. My next pet peeve is not knowing which book is like book 3 in the series or book 6 in the series. You have a lot of book series like the Throne of Glass series, where you kind of, if you haven't read them or if you don't know what order they go in, you either have to look at Goodreads or you have to go to the inside of the book and like see what order the books are actually in, because they don't have anything on the spine or book cover to indicate which book in the series it is. I think I own 2 series that physically tells you which book in the series it is. And that is the Harry Potter series and the Percy Jackson series. If you look at those series, they all have numbers on their spines to tell you which book in the series that book is, which is very helpful. And when I go to reorganize my bookshelves and utter chaos ensues, I don't have to look up which order they go in. Now, this isn't a problem with just YA books. This is a problem with every book genre out there. I mean, I have a lot of adult books. I have one author that I have like 30 books from her series, and I have to physically look it up on Goodreads what order they go in if I ever go to put them on my shelves anymore, because I don't know what order those books go in anymore. It's just really irritating and really time consuming. And I know I'm gonna have that problem soon because I plan to redo all my bookshelves again. I'm looking forward to that. My next pet peeve is paperback books being printed in different sizes. Now, I have 2 series like this. One I cannot physically find at the moment. I have no clue where it is. And the other series being the Titan series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. You probably can't tell, but this book is a little longer than this book. I mean, it isn't by much, but it is very freaking annoying because it sticks out a little further on my shelf than the other book. The other book series I have, one book is taller than the other by ½ an inch. And that's really freaking annoying. It's like hardback books come in 2 sizes. They either come in large hardback books or medium-ish size hardback books. They only come in 2 sizes. I hate ordering books online when I'm ordering paperbacks because it's like, what size do I need to get to match the rest of the books in the series that I already own? Now, a lot of people may think this isn't a big deal, but I have a big problem with books like not matching the rest of the series, which is why I normally get the series all in one format. Sometimes I am not able to do that because sometimes I just want to buy books cheaper. It just aggravates me. It's like, why can't they just come out with a universal size for paperback books? I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult, but I don't work in the publishing company. Maybe it is. I don't know. Then we come to one of the most popular pet peeves, and that is people mistreating your books. And I actually made an entire video about this called My Book Borrowing Horror Story, and if I remember, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below, where I talk about 3 of my worst book borrowing stories. And one of them, my book came back completely ripped in two. Most people have problems with how other people treat their own books, and it's like, I don't care how other people treat their books. That is their books. What aggravates me is how people treat my books, whether they're borrowing them or they're just coming over for a visit. Now, little kids, they can't help it. Most of them don't know any better. But when I let people borrow my books or even touch my books, I expect them to be treated with respect. And that may seem a little bit obsessive, but these books are a lot of money. I have thousands of dollars in books in my room, and it's just, no. I wanted them to be treated with respect, and I want them to look like new. I really don't have this problem much anymore since I no longer lend out books. It's like I said, I don't care what other people do to their books. It's just like if you're borrowing mine, or even if you're just picking it up off the shelf and you're touching it, it's like you treat it like it's brand new in the store, and an employee will descend upon you with a bitten rage if you so much as look at the book wrong. Which I know bookstore employees don't actually do that, but hey, respect the books. Moving on to my last bookish pet peeve, because this video is way too long. This is one thing that people do to me way too often, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. It's like I'll just be casually reading, and all of a sudden someone will come up to me and they'll just start talking about nothing really important and nothing that I find remotely interesting. It's just they feel the need to talk to me at the point in time when I'm reading a book. It's like, whatever you have to tell me, could it not wait until when I'm not reading? It's like, could you please go tell somebody else? I'm reading. I don't want to hear about it. And this has happened to me a lot in the last 2 weeks, because the majority of my reading has been while we're going to and from hospital visits. So I'm reading in a moving vehicle with like 2 or 3 other people talking, and I get dragged into the conversation when I really just want to be reading, and it just doesn't work out the way I planned. I'm getting worked up just thinking about it. It's probably my worst pet peeve ever. Because, I mean, it's just one of the things I can't stand. I rarely get the time to read as it is. It's like, don't interrupt me reading with things that I don't care about. Okay, this video has been going on way too long. It's like, I think I'm like 40 minutes in. I don't know how I'm gonna edit all of that. That's a headache right there. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. You guys should let me know some of your pet peeves in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!